All right. It is 2 minutes past, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, good morning, you guys. Thank you for attending. We're excited that you're here. Hopefully, this will be very informative, and we're going to cover a lot of stuff, but we will also have some time for questions as well. Okay, so before we get right to it, let's review the agenda. So I'm going to introduce each of the speakers, then give a little bit of an explanation of our new partnership. Then we will follow that up with the systems that are compatible with FieldSeeker. And then my last portion is the data import and automatic data reporting options. Beyond that, we will also be having Linda kind of give us a rundown of ULV and core, and then Chad is actually going to demo the software for us. Little bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, please enter them into the question box. We are going to be answering all of the questions at the end, so we are not ignoring you. I'm actually going to be pulling those questions off and putting them on a slide that we'll go over at the end of the webinar. You will find some documents. They're listed in or under the option for handouts that have been uploaded. These are the FAQ and just a brochure, so you can review those if you would like. And then we will also be emailing a link out to the recording of this webinar. So if your IT group wants to see it, or if there's somebody that was out sick today that you want to look at it, you will have the opportunity to go back in and watch those. All right, with that, here we go. So I'm Emily Booth. I am a technical sales representative for Adapgo. I'm also kind of managing this Frontier relationship. So as we transition away from GeoTracker and over towards FieldSeeker, I get to work really closely with Linda and Chad. Linda is the sales manager for Frontier Precision. And then Chad, I did this last time too. I forgot your title. But he does all of the things with basically development and on the actual software side of things. Okay, next, the relationship. Okay, so you guys probably know by now that Azelis, ANES, or Adapgo prior to this year and Frontier Precision are now working together. Frontier has amazing software that's been on the market for longer than 15 years now. It's been tested, it's tried and true. It's really amazing software, and we knew we needed to partner up with Frontier because of that. I'm sure all of you have used our GeoTracker software in the past, and while it's been great, it did have some downfalls to it, and let's be honest, it looks like it's straight out of the 90s. So we needed something that worked every single time you tried to use it, and also brought us up to the 21st century. So anyways, with that, we are going to be eliminating GeoTracker Pro, and this is going to happen on December 31st, 2023. And I don't want anyone to panic. Obviously, you can still use it through this year. Everything will work as is. There will be no issues with that. And we will get you converted over, or at least have the opportunity to get you converted over to the FieldSeeker ULV software before that time comes. Now, I know some people are in the midst of their season already and wouldn't want to change mid-season. We completely understand. We'll work with you to actually get this switch to happen later in the year once things have settled down, and even early into 2024. Just know that you won't be able to process any data or print any reports with maps after the December 31st date. Okay, so Frontier Precision's Field Seeker ULV Office software is replacing GeoTracker Pro. Again, their software is modern. It's up to date. It works every time you use it. It's beautiful. We love it. I got it installed on my computer, and I've been using it to process some data, and it's absolutely great. Okay, so Azelis A&ES's AccuFlow, Monitor 4S, and Monitor Flex system integrate seamlessly with Field Seeker ULV software, both mobile and Office. So be aware of that. And then something that I left out of here, but Monitor 5 will also import into the ULV Office software as well. Okay, so for that technology import, just to kind of expand on the last part that I touched on, the data that you can import without adding or doing anything else to your fleet is the Monitor 4S and the Monitor 5s. So as though they are, with no additions, you can import the data from your Monitor 4S and your Monitor 5 into Field Seeker ULV. Chad and his team have been working to make sure that that data imports seamlessly, and so far we're having pretty good luck with it. And so that data can import no problems into the Field Seeker ULV Office. And again, you don't have to have any additional items in your truck. So if you want to stick with your Monitor 4S or your Monitor 5, you absolutely can. Okay, the next part is the portion of our technology portfolio that integrates with Field Seeker, not only through the Office, but also with the mobile system. So we have something that's called the Monitor Flex, and this was formerly known as the AccuFlow, and also we are able to make it work with the Monitor 4S as well. But basically, we can plug the tablet, the Mesa 3 tablet, into the Monitor Flex, and it will work with the Field Seeker ULV mobile software. And it does that readily. We had to make a couple of software changes on the back end, but otherwise it can read your data and tell you what your flow rate is at the time that you are spraying. It also indicates sprayer on and off, etc. And you'll see that when Chad does his demo as well. And then, as you probably all know, but in case you don't, that Monitor Flex system plugs directly into your Guardian sprayer. And so it's able to act as a variable flow system. And so what it does is, as you speed up, it's going to put out more chemical. As you slow down, it is going to put out less chemical. And so it's a true variable flow system. And then that Guardian and the Monitor Flex, as well as the Field Seeker ULV mobile, is all going to communicate that data back to your ULV Office that you have on your desktop. And that's where you would be able to do your reporting and other options. Okay, so a little bit about what we are working on. So right now we are making every effort to get our LT and LT2 data importing into Field Seeker ULV Office. Chad and his team have been working on this most recently, and so we should have that update out soon. And as soon as we know anyone who is interested in their data importing from the LT or the LT2, just let us know and we'll make sure that you have that specific update. And then eventually the goal is, and we're actually going to be working on this next week, is to get the LTs also working with the Field Seeker ULV mobile system. So both the tablet and the mobile software in the truck. So that way you could see where you were spraying while in the truck. And it also would indicate your spray on or off. Okay, that is all of my portion for now. Linda, I'm gonna hand it to you.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Just gonna get my screen changed here.
Perfect.
There we go. So hopefully you can see that okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. Well, good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Linda Glover, and I'm the GIS Sales and Services Manager here at Frontier. And I'm going to be working with Emily and your local Azelis rep to provide the sales assistance. I just want to echo Emily's excitement about our new partnership, and we're really excited to have the time and the opportunity this morning to show you the benefits of Field Seeker. So Field Seeker is a complete solution for mapping and reporting integrated mosquito management plan activities. It's designed to be the hub for all important data, so all the workflows are integrated together and so that the data can be easily shared, analyzed, and updated throughout the organization. So Field Seeker has workflows for larviciding with storm drain treatments, surveillance, service requests. We have an optional vector serve gateway integration. And then we have our separate Field Seeker Windows ULV adulticiding extension, which is our main focus for today. And then also a separate public notification app. So the Field Seeker software is based on 15 years of customer input, and we include unlimited technical support with it. Also, just wanted to give you a little bit of background on Frontier. So we are an employee-owned company with 35 years of experience offering geospatial products and services. So when you go out to frontierprecision.com, you'll see all types of different systems to collect field data and then get the information back to the office. So that's what our entire company is about. And our mosquito and vector control, as well as our invasive plant control software, is supported from 2 offices, one being here in southern Idaho, where I'm located, and the other one in Jacksonville, Florida, where Chad is located. We do have a corporate office in Bismarck, North Dakota, and if you follow us on LinkedIn or on our mail list, you also see that we have several other locations around the United States. But the 2 that focus on mosquito control and weed control are here in Idaho and in Jacksonville. We also support the ag drone systems from Idaho here as well. So any of the drone spraying systems that are related to mosquito and weed control, we support here as well. So you're meeting Chad and I today, but we do have some other full-time team members, and one is Tyler McGarity and the other Chris McCabe. They both work full-time doing Field Seeker deployments, and will do the day-to-day technical support as well as any training that you might need. Joey Savello is based out of Jacksonville with Chad. He's on our team to lend us some drone expertise, and so some of you might have already run into him at various drone activities. We do have a formalized product roadmap for Field Seeker. You know, we've had it for 15 years and expected to continue it on into the unforeseeable future. We do have a dedicated software development staff that, you know, is constantly taking Chad's input based on customer input and, you know, adding features and fixing bugs. We also have been a longtime Esri GIS partner, and so we do also have a dedicated GIS professional services staff and can offer those types of services alongside our Field Seeker software. And then we also have a whole team of dedicated drone pilots as well. So when you purchase Field Seeker software from us, there is a one-time purchase of the Field Seeker licensing. And then if you do purchase the mobile system, there's a software license and the associated hardware that's purchased as well. And so that's that one-time upfront purchase, and that includes the first year annual support and maintenance. So our software does require annual support and maintenance, but that first year is included with the purchase. And then starting year 2, we will invoice based on how many licenses that you own. But we've tried to add a lot of value for your support and maintenance. You know, we want you to be successful with your purchase, and we also know that you might be short on some IT or technical support, and your job is to do mosquito control, so we want to be your technical support partner, and that annual support and maintenance allows us to do that. So with it, you get unlimited technical support, and we have a goal to have same-day response Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, except holidays. And we do have a formalized help desk set up. And the best way to enter a support ticket with us is to go to our online portal. You'll log in with your username and password, and there's a little button you can push to open a support ticket with us. And when you do that, it goes into a central location where all of us have, it has visibility with all of us. So that way, instead of emailing somebody specifically and they happen to be out or on PTO or had to call in sick or something, it'll sit there in their mailbox. This way, if you enter it through our system, everybody sees it, and the first person that has the chance to get to you will be helping. And we have different ways to contact us too, either with email and telephone as well, but that support portal is the best way. And then you'll also get unlimited remote assistance. So if we need to log into the Mesa or your desktop or something to look at the software, we can remote in and help and get something fixed. We can also give unlimited web training. So if you want your staff trained and then you want your seasonal staff trained, you know, we're willing to help with that as you need. I'm going to show you a little bit more about our Frontier Learning Lab. So it's that support portal where you enter your support ticket, but it also has a lot of self-help information there. We can come on site for training at $1,800 a day plus travel expenses. And then also the support and maintenance includes your software updates where you'll get new feature enhancements and bug fixes. And we typically release those maybe 2 to 3 times a year. So this is what our support portal looks like. So you sign in with your username and password, and you need to sign in because you won't have access to all the content that is there unless you do sign in. So then you just click the mosquito box here, and depending on which product that you're looking for more information on, we can click there, and then there's different videos that are available that focus on different topics, the user documentation, and things like that. Also, there's a community button up here at the top, and if you click on it, you can kind of see this board that'll have different announcements on it. So when Chad releases new software, it'll give the date and a description of what's included in that new release. And then there's also a way to enter ideas if you have requests for new features or something you'd like to see considered for new releases. And then they'll be listed out here, and then you can also see what other ones are already there and vote on it. And this kind of helps Chad know which features are more popular. So as he's looking to, you know, communicate with the programmers and at those new software development efforts for which features to include in the future. So this diagram here is just going to kind of show how the Field Seeker software fits together, and it comes in 3 different parts. So the first part I'm going to talk about is the Field Seeker Core app, and this is the workflows for larviciding with the storm drain treatment, surveillance, and service requests. It is based on the Esri ArcGIS Online platform, so it does require that licensing. And then it comes in 2 parts. So the Office software is a JavaScript web app. So it's accessible from any device with a browser. So we're not going to install anything on your computer or anything for the Field Seeker Core Office. You'll just log into a website and use the software. And the Office software is for configuring the system, the data management, and doing your analysis and reporting type functionality. Then we have a cross-platform mobile app that's available for the same workflows, and then it's compatible with the iOS, Android, and Windows 10, 11 devices. Since ArcGIS Online is a cloud-based system, it lends itself well to real-time connectivity. Real-time connectivity means that you have to have a cell data plan on your mobile devices in order to communicate with the Office on a regular basis. You know, it'll update about every 1 to 2 seconds, somewhere in there, depending on your connectivity in your area. But then if you don't have good cell phone coverage, or you don't want to have the expense of a data plan or something like that, then we do support offline editing, where maps and data is preloaded onto the mobile device, and then you do your updates and then synchronize with the Office after the fact. We do have an optional vector serve gateway integration. Several of the states have started entering surveillance data into this gateway. And so it does cause double entry of some of the data, because you know, some of the similar data is entered into Field Seeker and then into Gateway. So with this integration option, you can map which fields could push data back and forth. And then we also leverage the ArcGIS Online platform to import data from third-party systems. And typically for the mosquito control, this includes aerial spray systems, truck spray systems, and the drone spray systems. Then we have the separate Field Seeker Windows ULV adult sighting extension. So this is a total separate program, you know, because we do have some customers that only do adult sighting. We have some that only do larva sighting, and some that do both. So we've made it in 2 separate products, and then you can start with one and bring on the other at another time as well. So we are talking about 2 separate products. So the Windows ULV adult sighting extension is a standalone desktop system. So we will install software on your Windows 10 or 11 PC. It's built on OpenGIS technology, so it does not require the Esri licensing, but it's totally compatible, and we'll show some advanced functionality that you can leverage the Esri GIS for. So maybe you already have Esri, you know, in another part of the county or something and already using it. You could use it with Windows ULV, but it is not required. So with the adult sighting extension, we're only compatible with Windows 10, 11 tablets. And that's because the sprayers out on the market communicate with a 9-pin serial port. And so we provide, as part of our Field Seeker system, a Windows 10 or 11 tablet that has that 9-pin connector. And you know, we've tried before about using adapters and everything with some of the iOS or Android systems, and that has not proved reliable. So we're, you know, going with what works, and so this Windows tablet is the best. And then I just want to take a minute just to mention the public notification app. Some of our larger mosquito control districts asked us to brand a public mobile app, and they advertise it to their public or constituents to download it, and then they can enter service requests back to the district, which ends up back over into Field Seeker. Or the district can also push map information to them. So maybe they want to push a map with spray schedule or landing counts or trap counts or something like that. That information can go back to the public. So it's just another way to engage the public. So I'm going to go over quickly some core benefits. The Field Seeker core software benefits. And so again, the core is the workflows for larva siting with the storm drain treatment, surveillance, and service requests. It also has integrated workflow for on-truck inventory management. So you can check product out from the warehouse, put it on the truck, use it, and then check what's left over back into the warehouse. And it has reconciliation tools and all that built into it. But the basic feature of the Field Seeker Core is to be able to go out and do your inspections and treatments and schedule those based on time or the product efficacy period. There's some built-in dashboard widgets so you can see data at a glance. There's measure tools. There's also a built-in chemical calculator on the mobile device to help field crews know that they're applying the correct amount of product to an area that they're treating. You can view work in progress. There's little pop-up windows for viewing and entering data. Directions are available through the phone or tablet navigation app. So Field Seeker integrates with that to give driving directions to the inspection sites. You can also choose between a variety of Esri base maps. We support picture attachments. And then since it is GIS based, there's several different ways that you can view and analyze your data. So there's ways to export these queries out into different formats. But we do also have a report library for printed reports, or you can export them in different formats. And these reports have kind of come to fruition over the last 15 years of interfacing with different mosquito control agencies. And then with the ArcGIS online platform, it's a great way to share data inside or outside your organization. Some advanced features include tools for the aerial, truck, and drone proposed treatment areas, barrier and ULV spray treatments. We do restricted area management, field scouting, Q&A inspection, that optional vector serve gateway integration. We can also do service request integration from the Field Seeker Core over into the Windows ULV extension. We also have some advanced reporting, query, and search functionality. We can embed an Esri dashboard right into the Field Seeker Core landing page so that you can even see more data at a glance. We can also integrate a web form or status maps with your public website and update those automatically. And we do have some time and activity tracking tools. So we use the Esri platform for Field Seeker Core so that you have full control and ownership of your system and data, but also so that you can configure it. So you can start out, you can turn things on and off. So you can start out with as simple as you want and then make it as complex as you want. So you can configure it and let it change as your operation changes. And we also use it to integrate to third-party softwares like asset management systems or accounting systems or something like that. So now moving on to the Field Seeker Windows ULV adult siting extension. So again, we're dealing with the Windows 10, 11 PC Office software. So this will be installed on your Office PC. And the Office software is set up to configure your system and for the data operations and the reporting. So green dots or line is where the sprayer's on, red's where the sprayer's off. Your spray sessions are listed down here in the bottom part of the screen. You can hit this icon up here, click a point, and this little pop-up comes up and it'll show you who was driving the truck, how fast they were going, and what product was being used, etc. Chad will show all this more in just a few minutes in a larger format so you can see things better. The mobile device mounts inside the truck cab, so the driver will see themselves on the display. The restricted areas are shown here in this orange, red, whatever color you want to call it. And so as they approach that, it will give them an audible warning, and there's ways to customize messages on the display. So just a little bit about the basic features. So again, it's based on OpenGIS technology and doesn't require the Esri licensing, but we can leverage it. And so this is just developed to collect your truck spraying session information. And as Emily mentioned before, it is compatible with the Azelis sprayers, or we can do the data import from the SD cards from the Monitor 4S and 5. If you have other brands of sprayers, we're probably can configure or connect to those as well. If you have sprayers that don't have data output and you want to draw in on the map, you can draw that polygon line or point in, and then a form will pop up and you can enter the information about the treatment, and that becomes part of the data set. And Chad will show more about the way we can customize warnings and messages for the field techs that pop up on the mobile device in the truck in just a few minutes. So the adult sighting system is not real time. So you're going to go out and collect the spray session, and then when you're done with the spray session, you're going to synchronize the data with the office. And we can do that via Wi-Fi, or there's going to be a USB drive into the Windows tablet, and you can pull that out and physically put it in your computer, or we can also synchronize through Google Drive or Dropbox. We do also have an optional cloud hosting of the Field Seeker database if you would like that option. We can do spray session reporting with or without a map, and we do support metric units. And some advanced features include we have a predefined spray route feature, so you can show the driver where to start and stop the route, which direction to drive the route, when to turn the sprayer on and off. And then we have that service request integration with Field Seeker Core, so as they're doing ULV applications, they can see where those service requests are as they drive by them. We also can do Esri's feature service push, which basically takes a polygon of the truck spray data and pushes that over to Field Seeker Core so it can be viewed with the other operational data. And then we can also do restricted or proposed treatment areas and sync those with ArcGIS Online. And supervisors can assign spray routes or proposed treatment areas to drivers. And we do have a optional truck-mounted weather sensor. So just a little bit about the Windows tablets. We typically recommend the Mesa 3, which has a 7-inch display on it and weighs about 1.2 pounds. It's manufactured by Juniper Systems based in Logan, Utah. So any repair services and all that are done here in the United States. We have over 1,500 of these systems out with mosquito control agencies, so we know they're very reliable. Juniper just released the Mesa Pro tablet earlier this spring, so we're just now getting people that's kind of upgraded their Mesa 3s to Mesa 4s that'll be using it for the first time here this year. It is a Windows 11 tablet, and it does have a 10-inch display and weighs 3 pounds. So for truck mounting, truck-mounted application, it'll be ideal because you'll have a bigger display to look at. If you're thinking about using the Windows tablet for maybe Field Seeker Core applications as well during the day and then put it in the truck at night, we would probably recommend the Mesa 3 for sure, just because it's lighter weight and easier to carry around in the field. That optional weather sensor is an ultrasonic weather station that mounts on the truck bed. So there's a cable that comes up and plugs into the USB port on the Mesa 3. And then so with every position that's recorded, every 1 second, it'll also record the weather parameters with wind speed, direction, temperature, barometric pressure, and the relative humidity. So I just wanted to also mention that we do have a sister product for invasive plant control, which is similar to the Field Seeker Core mosquito product, but it's all set up for weed control. And we also have been providing drones for inspections, applying liquid and granule pesticide treatments, and mapping and LiDAR applications. We do have US made drones, so if that's a requirement for you, we can help you with that. And then we also want to make sure that we can use that drone data with other operational data in Field Seeker. So with that, Chad, I'll turn the time over to you.
Sounds great. Let me get my screen shared. And let's see if I've got the right one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I'm also very excited as the product manager to show you what we've developed so far and give you kind of an overview of the basic uses of the ULV product also. So I'm going to start with the things that are specific with the Azelis integration. So all we've added here in the ULV Office application is Azelis support. And so for our customers who are already using the solution, then this will just be turned off. But once you turn it on, specify a default drive, or one or more default drives, so that you can work with data from SD cards or USB drives if you're doing the import. So just turn that on. That turns on the Azelis support. And then what we'll have in the data operations is we have the ability to import spray sessions from the monitor 4S or 5. So we just put the SD card or USB drive in and import it. And then it'll just be like any other spray session in ULV. I'll show you some of the operations with that. We also have the mission configuration. So this will look like some of the screens out of either GeoTracker Pro, or there's a little standalone configuration utility which some customers have used. So this allows you to read what's on the SD card or USB drive, and then be able to set the parameters for monitor 4S or monitor 5. And you can set the pump type, the permissions for the technician, all the things you're used to setting over in GeoTracker Pro or that config utility. So these would be configured. It's going to list the technicians that I have in my database here. Also will list the products that I have in my database here and the vehicles. Now, if you're importing data from the card, then it'll automatically add those values into those lists as you import data, so you don't necessarily have to separately go and configure a different list. Once you've got everything set, then you export the mission out and it creates those same files that you're used to on the cards. So long story short is, if you already have monitor 4S or monitor 5 working and collecting data, you've already done your calibrations and everything's set, you can just keep using the mission configurations that are already on there, keep collecting data, and then all you'd have to do is bring it in and import the data here in Field Seeker. So if I do that import, if I had a lot of data on the card, it might take a couple seconds to process, but it's pretty fast. Once it comes into the system, then it's going to just show up as spray sessions down here on the bottom. One additional thing I'll show is just in the list of sprayers, we of course have that ability to connect directly to the sprayers if you're going to add a tablet. So that list of sprayer types includes that AccuFlow 4 or Monitor 4S or that Monitor Flex, all different names for kind of the same box. So with that, all you have to do is specify the name of the sprayer and its calibration value, and that's it. Then it's plug and play with the tablet in the truck cab with the correct cable. So let's take a few minutes and just look at the basic uses of ULV Office, and then I'll show a little bit of what the driver would see if you're using a tablet in the field with the ULV Mobile. So the main purpose of the ULV Field Seeker ULV application is tracking reporting, and that gives you that defensibility as well as transparency with other stakeholders or with the public if they're asking questions. So just for example, if someone calls in and says, you know, I think you missed my house, or your drivers were driving too fast, or you sprayed and killed something, you know, those kind of complaints, you can look up an address here and find that location on the map. If you know when that spray session happened, you can dial that in with the date ranges. There's also these filters for technician or truck. So if you have an idea who was working on those days, then we can filter that down. So if we have some spray sessions here for a specific day and we know that's where the driver was, then you may have an answer to that complaint. Now, if we zoom to any of these actual spray sessions to see where they actually were, then it's just like you would expect. The actual spray track is going to be shown, and every one of these dots on the map will have a date, a time, who was there, when they were there, how fast they were driving, and whether the sprayer was on or off, and what the flow rate was. So all that's calculated or collected second by second, like you're already used to with the mission data in GeoTracker. Now, a couple of additional things with the spray session. If I right-click on that session, I can also replay it, and that will just give me kind of a timeline view of where the driver went. And so that's a very handy feature for supervisors who want to do some training with a new driver, or you know, there's some way that they ran the route where they could make an adjustment or something, or even for the driver to be able to come back and communicate with the supervisor about what they were actually finding in the field. So just being able to replay that session is a nice option. Additional thing with these spray sessions would be if you had someone drive through a neighborhood, an experienced driver, and there's a specific way that you want that area to be driven in the future, we can right click on this and we can actually create a named spray route. And so if I create a named spray route, that will then be available in the future as a spray route that can be selected, and it'll show up on the map for the driver. So I'm going to turn the spray route layer off for now. I'll come back to a couple thoughts about that in a minute. Now, the other basic thing with this ULV software would be running a report. So if I wanted to do a spray session report that included this map, then I can run that report and it'll show me what I'm seeing on the screen, and then it'll show the spray sessions and their totals, total area treated. It shows a few other useful things like total miles driven, total spray miles, average speed, max speed, and some other things like that. So it's pretty much everything that people have asked for over the years for the details of spray sessions. These reports, of course, can be printed, but they can also be exported out into different file types, so it's easy to share them over email or however you need to share them. The spray session also can be just exported out from here. So if I wanted to select, you know, just the one spray session and then click on export, I can output a shapefile or a KML file. So that could be given to someone else to use in Google Earth or in some other program if they don't have the ULV program. Lastly, this spray session itself, if I turn on like the treatment lines, treatment polygon layers, some of this data can also be pushed to Esri. So if you also have that Field Seeker core, then you can push that spray record over there so it's available in the maps for the daytime crew to know where the truck spraying happened as well. One more thing in reports, I showed the detail report for an individual session, but it's also very easy to get a summary report for like a whole year, or if you wanted to get a summary for a particular zone or a particular product, you can generate that report and it's going to total up by zone, each product, how many times it was used, and the totals for area traded and volume. and then grand totals at the end. So that's one of the main points, is getting the easy reporting without having to kind of manually total everything up on a regular basis or at the end of the year. So an additional main point of the app is restricted area or no spray management. And so for that, I'm going to zoom to a area here around my office, and we can look at a couple of example restricted areas. So I have one that's a citizen opt-out, or another one customer request, the kind of same concept, but someone calls in and doesn't want to be sprayed anymore, or whatever process you have for receiving those kinds of requests. That restricted area can be managed right here in the program itself. So if you already had a bunch of no sprays, we can import those in. We can import in a shapefile, or if you even have a list of addresses, there's a process we can get those brought in, or they can just be created here in the program itself if you're getting new ones in all the time. This will keep track of who it is, and you can put in addresses and contact details. This list of types is something you can have your own list here, it can be custom. And then whether it's a do not enter, do not spray, or both. And then also if you want a specific warning message to pop up for the driver when they're nearby. So at its most basic, it's for no sprays, and you the driver would get a warning when they're within like 300 feet of it. But it's more customizable than that. If you want to get more particular, you can have specific types of warnings for different kinds of restricted areas. That came out of some requests we had to not only track no sprays, but things like gate codes or call aheads or special instructions. So those can pop up with their own type of message and even their own sound. So that's the nice part about the mobile application, which I'll switch over and show in just a second. One last thing about the restricted areas is that in the configuration, you don't have to do anything to enable the basic no spray. By default, that's set to 300 feet. So if you create a no spray, when they're within 300 feet, they're going to get a warning. If you want to get more into it than that, then under advanced, there's this warnings area, and you can configure specific warnings for all kinds of things. So if I wanted to set a specific warning for a long driveway, I can configure that. It could just be that the message that pops up just says long driveway, and it has a specific sound. So it's pretty flexible. It's worked pretty well for different use cases that people have that are maybe a little different than just the no spray warning. Okay, last thing before I switch over on the mobile is just back-ender configuration. We try to make it so that if you're just doing the basic tracking, reporting, no sprays, you can just look at this list of basic configurations, and this is what has to be set up for the program to work. So your list of products, list of sprayers, your list of techs, your list of vehicles, and that's about it. If you're going to get into more things like spray routes or service requests or Esri integration, then you can go and work on things as applicable in advanced or under the Esri tab. So we keep adding new bells and whistles, but if you don't care about bells or whistles and you're just tracking, then I would try to keep it simple so that it works for that as well. Okay, I'm going to switch over to show just this short video clip of the mobile side because I'm inside and don't have a good way to demonstrate driving. So as I play this video, it's going to show what the driver would see. I'm just going to go back a little bit to show the spray session. So they come in, they start on a map, and they go to create, and it'll take you to select create spray session. It's going to have them put in the date and time, sprayer, product, and vehicle. And optionally, you can put in comments and weather information. Once they start the spray session itself, then it's going to start reading data from the sprayer. So the sprayer shows that it's off. As they start driving, then they're going to start seeing the dots on the map. If the sprayer's on, the speed will update, flow rate will update, and the sprayer status will update. As they get near any nose sprays, then they're going to start seeing warnings of that. So if we get to an area where there's some nose sprays, so there's what will pop up. A red box will pop up and it'll say nose spray. If there's a specific message, it'll pop that up as well. And then there's a pretty obnoxious warning sound that comes out of the Windows tablet as well. It's not as loud as the sound that comes out of the the monitor itself when you have like low speed, but it's pretty, it'll get your attention. So that'll keep warning until they're past the area, and then they could turn the sprayer back on. Now this one is actually showing a different kind of message. So this is not a nose spray, but it's a don't enter. And so it's coming up with a different message, and it could even be a different sound. In this case, we also have the buffered 300-foot area displaying on the map, so you get a good idea of the coverage. But as you can imagine, even just seeing where the tracks are being laid down as you go through an area, it's easy for the driver to tell if they've missed a spot or need to go back and hit an area that they missed. So with the nose sprays, that would just pop up, do not enter, same thing. And as we close this or go farther in this, there's one additional thing I wanted to show, which is the map layers. We try to make it so that the driver doesn't have to interact with a bunch of options, but it is possible to turn layers on and off if you want. There's also the ability to create a record of like a random event that happens. So if they come across a beehive or a do not spray out in the field, then they can actually record that as a GPS point on the map, and that way they have a way to communicate that back to the supervisors. One additional thing I'll mention is just there is an identify button, so you can tap on like a restricted area and get all the details. So we were seeing the pop-up message that just says it's a no spray, but if they want to look at phone numbers, addresses, details, then they have access to that as well. The map will follow them. It will auto rotate, but there are options. You can turn that on or off if you don't like it to auto rotate. You want it to be north centered. A couple things in the app too. We have automatic updates that you can download, so you're always up to date. And then there's a couple simple troubleshooting options if you're having problems with the connection. So let's see if I've covered everything I intended to. I think one last thing I wanted to mention before handing it back to answer any questions that came up is just in the Esri integration, if you do have ArcGIS Online or Field Seeker Core along with the truck spray tracking app, then these are the types of data we can push and pull back and forth. So restricted areas, where you did the treatments and the treatment records, service requests, and spray routes. So if you don't have Esri or Field Seeker Core, you don't need any of this, it's fine. You can actually create all of those types of data right here in the program. But if you do have, we want to make it so you can share data between the two programs.